As usual, the hard part. She's a little bit swampy through there, but at least there's no major hills. We'll try and go around the base of that bit of a slope. But I think the worst part's going to be carrying across the top of that waterfall. Last thing I want to do is go in the water.
Or over the falls.
Yeah, definitely not over the falls. See if I can get up. He's a big boy. Now we
straight over that way there. Through there if you can.
You got everything, eh? Have you got? I've got my knife.
How much?
This guy, he'll be around 90 to 95 kilo. We were thinking he could have possibly been 100, but I don't think he'll go 100.
Sort of trapped there a little bit, I think.
By using the frame for carrying deer, it puts a lot less strain on your upper back and locates most of the weight over your hips. Admittedly, it does make the load quite wide, and getting through tight bush can be challenging at times. Normally, of course, we wouldn't hunt in gumboots, as you can see. It's only because this area is really swampy, and because we had to cross the falls, going through the water, that we're wearing gumboots. And it's not too far, luckily. The worst part, of course, is sinking. When you sink into the swamp up to your flaming knees, it's not too good. That went over. It comes down to personal preference, really. Some guys prefer to carry peacow style without a frame of any kind, and I do have to admit that it can be annoying at times carrying the frame around for days on end and not even needing it. However, we find that when it comes to carrying loads in excess of 100 kilo, it would be nearly impossible without it. Egan has managed to survive a life of meat hunting spanning a period of over 3 decades without any notable hip or back problems. Having carried around 3,000 deer on his back, he claims he could not have done it without the frame. This is the second frame Father has used during his career. The first one was apparently a slightly better design, but unfortunately he left it on the side of the road one time after loading several carcasses into the old van. So no doubt some lucky hunters scored themselves a fine piece of equipment. That was about 25 years ago, so I'd have to say this one's done pretty well for itself. Over that period it suffered many injuries, such as backing the vehicle over the top of it, and straps breaking due to leather fatigue, but we've always managed to repair it ready for the next load. Our policy has always been to take plenty of short breaks along the way to avoid wearing yourself out too soon. Don't take any unnecessary risks. In other words, don't attempt something unless you are certain it is safe to do so. Whenever crossing rivers, whether carrying a carcass or not, never boulder hop, always walk through the water where there is less chance of slipping. It's easy to get overconfident in such shallow water, but remember, the rock surface gets a lot of direct sunlight, allowing all kinds of slime and algae to grow, and with the extra load, you could easily end up flat on your back. Carrying whole carcasses of this weight across rivers is not something we recommend, unless you know what you're doing. Remember, we've been doing this all our lives, so it becomes second nature. Know your limitations and don't try to be a hero, it's not worth it. It's a bit horrible. There's lots of pools and I'm trying to stay to the shallow bits. There's lots of deep bits everywhere and I don't want to slip in. For the average hunter, there's no real necessity to carry out a whole carcass. It's often a good idea to cut it up. Unfortunately, in our case, when we're selling the animal, it must be intact with the offal included. We always feel a great sense of achievement when we reach the road with a large stag because of the sheer effort and determination that goes into it. The heaviest stag we have ever carried out using this method was 126 kilo, or 277 pounds. This was an 8-hour carry over a considerable distance, and needless to say we were delighted to get the beast on the scales.